Hello. Is anyone else in the darkness? Oh. I totally forgot to close all my other tabs. Really glad that audio from those didn't randomly start playing. It was just a bunch of VTuber clips, but it would have been, you know, kind of funny. Like they just started playing or something. Welcome, Poi. Oh. First of all, I'm a zombie. Second of all, we're off to a good start. Okay. Wait, I did... Oh, that's why. Okay, got it. There we go. We're functioning now. Hold on a second. There we go. Welcome. You can't see the bottom of the chat box here. It's very interesting. I haven't looked at fixing the chat yet, so I have no idea what's going on with it, so we're gonna have to work with this today. My halo is covering it, which I find funny. Pretty unique starting values for the character, cool. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I was looking into, what's it called? I was looking into... My brain's gonna start working. Sorry, just need to, like, focus. Also, because I may need to get up in, like, a second. Because I haven't drank my coffee yet. Okay, so, unique starting values for the character. I didn't notice this. Second is that, like, I was looking for another character to play, and then this one was on front page. Like, I looked at the cards, I looked at the starting relic, and I have, you know, like, there are some things to say, but also, like, I'm not super certain that this character is going to be particularly balanced. I will also say that, you know, perhaps this is interesting, but also starting gold and HP are pretty important. I think, probably. I don't know. Because, for example, stuff like gold, even, like, decisions for Niao are now, like, completely recontextualized, right? So it's like, lose all your gold for something just is now, like, very, very broken. Right? So, I know that one of the other designers has a heuristic around this, where it's like, usually don't touch the starting values too much. Like, HP, you probably want to pick some, like, do you die or do you not die to, like, one additional poke? Right? Like, usually that's important to consider. Gold, I feel like probably don't touch gold. Or you'd need to, like, look at maybe custom Niao blessings or something? I don't know. Because all the gold-related Niao blessings are now too strong. Very likely. Okay. So, the changes to those different values make for better gameplay, but it's at least cool to see for the first time. That is fair. That it is neat that it is changed. I suppose the observation is that, like, normally it's not changed for a reason, but maybe it is flavorful for these values to be the particular way they are. So I looked this up. This is a character, like, from a game or something. Again, I have not played the game. I have no context for why their powers would be cool or not cool or something, or flavorful or not flavorful. We're mostly just going to be looking at the design of the character. It's actually been like 2 weeks now since I've done one of these, so welcome to Design Spire. Crazy. Wow. Insane. Where we play modded characters and we talk about the design of the character. So how do the cards fit together? How does it, like, promote the gameplay that it's hopefully aiming to promote? Obviously, we have no idea what the actual true intent from the designer is, but we can take some guesses as we start playing the character. Examples of, like, design stuff that we're probably not going to do is, wow, this is sidearm, but it draws an additional card. Um, we're still going to do that, but it's not going to be the be-all, end-all of balancing, because I think that'd be a little bit inaccurate or missing the point. So, that being said, the thing that tipped me off of this, or tipped me off on this, was this. So, before we even get started, because first of all, I need to wake up still. Second of all, I have opinions on this, and I realized that I had a bunch of, I had a bunch of stuff, I guess. I had a bunch of baggage with this. So, so this is effectively like a thing you charge up over time, and then you expend it such that you can, like, you know, not die. So you can charge up, like, a not die move, or, like, you know, a time rewind or something, which is really cool in games where that effect happens. That's usually a very powerful moment, very, very fun to do that. However, this charges in 5 combats. There are, how many floors? 12 floors? 14 floors until the first boss. The likelihood that you will fight at least 5 encounters, especially with a player heuristic being to fight 3 regular encounters and then an elite, is pretty likely that this is going to be charged all the time. Yeah. Also, it has, you know, meta-scaling. So, I think the gain 1 max HP is literally one of the... That's one of the masks, I think. One of the beneficial masks. So, 1 max HP meta-scaling. The character does start at 45, which then, I think compared to, like, a base game character, yeah, I think they're closer to 80 or 70. Right? So, yeah, I suppose that means after, like, Act 3, you would be at, like, normal HP pool? Maybe? Question mark? I don't know what the average amount of combats are. I think I've taken guesses before. Or I've, like, recorded literally how many fights you do before you get to the boss. The relic is something like plus 250 HP for a full run on average, if I'd have to guess. Yeah, so there is something ambiguous about this. I don't know if this is a one-time use. So I don't know if this is a, you charge it, and then it's, like, charged forever, and it's a one-time use, but who knows? Spend 5 memories. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's spend 5 memories and gain restart. Yeah. So it does not... You don't, like, lose this relic for any reason. Yeah. So the actual thing that I was going to say about this, which I find maybe kind of interesting because I recognize this on the original character that I played. Assume you can do it once per battle if you have the memory to do so. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a question if you could do this multiple times in one battle, because that would be something, for sure. Okay. So the thing that I was going to say about restarting stuff, or gaining HP back, or in general dirtling, or stalling, so this comes from kind of, when I first played this character, like me, the Time Mage character in tabletop RPG, because I had a spell called Undo Time, and then I also had an artifact which casted Undo Time for free. The problem with it is that, like, there are timers in games which kind of keep things, like, within the amount of time that you want to play it. So I think in this game it's like, you know, 9 plus a few, like, give or take a few turns, maybe, for boss battles, stuff like that. But the ability to gain all of your HP back in one go, which again is something that characters don't normally do in this game in general, but the ability to do that may significantly extend that clock in a way that as Poi has pointed out, like, 250 HP, right? Would make battles last for like too long, arguably, such that you are in a boss battle for like 30 turns. And listen, I don't know if you've had to play 30 turns of Slay the Spire versus like one boss. Flagbearer in many different cases has been a very slow character, and then I'll be on like turn 18 and it'll feel like I've been fighting that boss for an hour. So there's definitely a concern with this kind of ability. Now, here's the problem, is that like this seems to be, you know, probably flavorful to the character or the idea. They're literally called the Traveler in Time. You know, being able to restart, do again, try again. It's unfortunate because the things that affords in gameplay is like usually not conducive. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to, right? If you spend 30 turns on a boss, then you've lost so much max HP that you've probably lost the run. Sure, that's fair. Because this is a this does have the, like, you lose HP after you trigger restart. There's a little bit more on that, but I would even say, like, what, you extend the fight by 10 turns past where you feel comfortable. So if the heuristic is 9 turns, and then you lose 10 max HP fighting a boss, and you gain 10 max HP per chapter or per act, right? So then each of the boss fights are now 20 turns long. Like, that's still a lot, right? And also the fact is that, like, you haven't lost the run, right? So it's kind of the same. It's the same thing as, like, old Seraphim form. Man. Me always saying I never want to talk about Flagbearer. I should probably just, like, not care about that in my brain at all. But, like, old Seraphim form, right, could keep you alive for a very, very, very long time. And then it's like, well, you haven't lost the run. You know, like, you haven't explicitly lost for any reason. Like, the game's not over. The game has not told you that the game is over. And I think it's pretty important for, like, the clarity of that to be apparent. You can kind of see in formats like Commander or EDH, Magic the Gathering, if that is familiar to anybody. That, like, games that go on kind of, like, for a really long time, and it's sort of, like, ambiguous where the game is going, like, people tend to get frustrated because, like, the turns start taking a really long time, and it's just like, you know, the point is that there's frustration there when, like, the ending of the game is ambiguous and it is not clear what is happening. And I guess the point is that, like, mechanics support those ideas, right? Like, there's only so much expectation you can put on the user to be like, okay, well, like, just realize you've lost the run. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you've lost 20 max HP, so just give up. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of users won't perceive it that way, you know? So they kind of need the clear, like, like, oh, the heart is now attacking me for 90, and, like, there's no way in hell that I'm gonna block for 90. Not always true, but as an example, that's like okay, well, we took too long and now we're dying. kind of thing. Like, the game is over, we have ended it. The heart doesn't instead say shuffle 20 voids into your deck, and then you slowly die to, like, the attacks you have been dying to because you draw 4 voids, and it's like, oh, well, I can't cast anything. Like, you know, not being able to block for 90 is a skill issue for certain. Yeah, so that's my thing on the Wish. Yeah, resetting mechanics, or first of all, there's kind of the idea of, like, getting all of your life back and Slay the Spire is kind of like, that's just like a, like, probably don't do that. And then there's welcome Shiki. What is up? We were just talking about the character before we started the run, and I was sharing that being able to restart or your HP is kind of like that. That's kind of tough. That's a tough sell in Slay the Spire. There should be a bingo card space for manipulating HP. As a bingo space. We aren't making a bingo card. But the other thing too is that like there's concerns about it dragging on like a losing game state for too long, and that can be like kind of uncomfortable or frustrating for people, for users. So good things to keep in mind. As I mentioned, it's probably very flavorful, or like it does feel really cool to be like, no, instead like I live via time magic or whatever. I think that's like a pretty core power fantasy to that like set of powers for sure. And then this one, whenever you lose HP, gain 1 gold. Interesting. I don't know how that could possibly be supported. I hope there are cards that act as memory outlets. Probably just a rare or something, and the payoff would have to be pretty huge, but I hope. Yeah. There's certainly always a concern with like these kinds of, you know, relics and stuff that have some degree of meta-scaling or stacking that then interacts with cards, which can be kind of awkward. But the other thing too, I guess, to recognize is that like the interesting thing about rules, right, is that they make kind of they make restrictions, right? So while it might kind of be like, oh, it's annoying that this has to happen at end of combat, like gain a memory, and now I have this other resource that I have to manage. Like, who knows if this resource is balanced or not, right? But it's interesting because it kind of directs the way that you want to play the game. So, for example, we want to prioritize combats. Like, by virtue of something important on this character being related to ending combats, like that points the character in a direction, or like the player in a direction, to play a particular way. So, you know, whether or not it's balanced, that is certainly a question. But the interesting thing about rules is that it does those kinds of things, right? Where it's like, you can never rest in this game. Like, there's no way to get HP back. So therefore, I'm going to like look for potions and ways to heal myself and stuff like that. So, I think let's hop into it. Ascension 0, let's go. Take a look at the starter deck. Sorry, I was just noticing the what's it? Background color is gonna make this very difficult. Oh, wait. Oh, dude defends? Oh, that's so smart. Okay, I was about to criticize that I cannot tell between defense and strikes. They actually put coloring on the sides for attacks and coloring at the top for skills. Very cool, actually. Small design choice there that helps you distinguish between cards. Very cool. Deal 5 damage, apply 1 vulnerable. Okay. Oh, this character has 4 starting cards. Oh, that was the other thing that I was going to mention, because it said it in the mod description, but this character only has like 53 cards or something. So there is a concern after you pass past, like, what's it called? You break from draft deviation. So like the certain amount of cards and how many are in each rarity slot is kind of important to the structure of playing Slay the Spire. So I didn't look at the card count of these things. Who knows? I also just realized, how are we going to determine between commons and uncommons and stuff? Is everything going to be monochrome? So there's something to consider there. Also, I would like to say, this character starts with 4 starting deck cards. But that's a lot of things to learn, I guess, at the very start. And also, interestingly, this character does not have the design pattern from Silent, where by virtue of having more cards in your starter deck, there's no way to compensate for the additional card draw required to go through your deck the first time. Which is, I suppose we can infer that it's an important heuristic for the starting characters, that you can like go through your entire deck in 2 turn cycles. That's your turnover rate at the start of the game. Oh, I lied. There's draw 3 cards, discard 1. So maybe that's like part of, you know, the fact that we have more cards in our deck. Maybe, I don't know. Gain 1 strength, next turn gain energy and lose 1 strength. Interesting. So you gain 1 strength this turn, the next turn you get energy, which you use to maybe like do something like this. Deal 9 and apply 1 weak to all enemies. So we have gain strength, apply vulnerable, apply weak, and then a draw card. I suppose this character is like a wizard, I think, is their thing. So there's something to be said about I just have everything. But you know, I have everything. I will say that this card, you know, the interesting thing about a card like Flex is that there's the draw opportunity cost, the opportunity cost of drawing it, and normally the interesting decision about Flex is that it's a question of whether you draft it or not, right? This being in the starter deck, once again, a 0-cost card where you're probably going to play it every time leads to sort of low decision making. It's cool. I like the idea of gaining energy the turn after and what I can do with that, but the reality is that I'm just going to play this every time I draw it and then see what it does, right? Okay, let's go. Lose all gold. I'm going to pay 1 gold to get 8 max HP. Absolutely hilarious. You can't script these things. Okay. Suspend, lose 1 strength. Pog! Oh, that's kind of cool. It's kind of distracting, honestly. But, cool. Okay. Nice to meet you. I'm gonna play this so I can turn my deck over. Oh, that's interesting, actually. I probably always want to cast this when I haven't drawn the 0-cost card, because it costs 0. Oh, I had energy. Shit. Literally from the card that gave energy, I think. Okay. If this card is discarded from your hand, gain energy. So this is a tactician effect. So I wonder if we are maybe more of like a rogue kind of character, because like knife to meet you and stuff, right? I don't know if this is valuable yet, because I don't know how much discard we have. Retain your hand this turn, gain 10 block next turn. Next turn. Interesting. Up front, retain your hand. Heal 10 HP, gain 1 strength. On an uncommon. Okay. Healing is strong. I think we've mentioned before that healing is rather powerful. We're going to take it. I guess we start with proportionately more attacks, so we're going to do that. We drew Turn It Up. and only play one attack. We have 4 energy this turn. Yeah, I guess the other interesting thing to say about there being a card which gives you energy in your main deck that costs 0, then it kind of ends up being like if the turnover of your deck is 2, that means on an uncommon and a small draft pool. Yeah, the reason I mentioned the small draft pool thing was that's a good point, but also that the point was more that I'm not going to comment more on the fact that there's a small draft pool, but that is an important design heuristic that this character technically isn't doing, and we won't worry about it too much. Yeah, wow, this character really has everything. They have draw, they have AoE, they have a vulnerable, and then they have strength stim and energy. So the thing I was going to say about the energy producing card, Turn It Up, is that if your turnover rate is 2, right, that means you have an additional energy every turnover, which is that's pretty good. Like an additional, what is our highest converting damage thing? Just like a strike at the moment. But that means like we discarded a strike, but a normal character would be able to produce at maximum if we were only counting strikes. Strikes are the lowest damage per energy card in Slay the Spire. So a normal character would be able to produce 32 damage, not including any other cards, with 6 energy and with a turnover of 2. Technically, this character can produce, which now we are including another card, which is fair to acknowledge, but if we had 7 energy worth of strikes in our deck, which I think is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not that we would actually play all of these cards in particular, but if we had the lowest conversion of damage per energy with an additional energy, that means we would literally have 6 additional damage every 2 turns from a standard character. I think Silent has zero cost attack for 3. Do 3 additional damage. Maybe that's not as big of a problem, but yeah. Energy, definitely another one of those like sacred resource kind of things that you want to be very careful with. So on a low opportunity cost card, you're just doing like 6 additional damage every turnover. That's good. So that's rather strong, I would say. Oh, did I already play the heal card? Whoops. Three damage a turn for free? Busted. Especially if it was AoE and stapled onto a ton of cards. Damn. I've never heard an effect that's like that. There's an opportunity cost to being planted, boy. Deal 6 if the enemy intends to attack, gain 5 block. So this is, that's lewd, first of all. This is a lewd picture. Yeah, you can't play Light Beam. Sure. So this is, what's it called? Oh, it's Uncommon Iron Wave. Well, I didn't mean to select it! I just wanted to look at the upgrade again. Shit. It's the floor card. Yes. Why did they put me on a card? How dare they? Now I'm upset. The design of this character is awful because they've put me on a card in 4K. Deal 6 damage to a random enemy. Apply 5 poison to a random enemy. Okay. 5 poison seems like a lot. Scaling with no exhaust. It's interesting. It's got a random card. So this would certainly be complicated or strong. Gain 1 dexterity per turnover. I guess that's like, that's the interesting. First of all, it's on a common as well, but that's a really good twin strike. Yes, but I suppose this is just a comment we can make all the time about cards and stuff. Is that like put the card so that maybe that's a lens that I can like use more actively and more commonly, is put this card in context to a 2 to 3 turnover like lens, right? So I get 1 dexterity every 3 turns. Like that's pretty good, right? I get 1 energy every 2 turns. Like that's pretty good. So we're gonna take this because getting dexterity is very good. Turn it up. Turn it up. Bar, your chest is staring at me. Yeah, what is? What's staring at you about it, huh? What about it? It's like my chat's not open. What about it? You have something to say? Punk? Does it upgrade to do 2 dexterity? Let's find out. Chest is going. The top buckle is the smiling face. I fucking hate this. This is cursed, and you're banned. Okay. It does not upgrade to 2 dexterity. It only upgrades 3 damage. Oh. Specifically that, not that. Yes, because of the... I mean, they're not straight lines. There's some curve to it. It's not a straight line. I feel insulted. Yeah, well, what if I just leave that hidden? Yeah, screw you. That comment will never be seen. Actually, wait, it can be seen because I'm capturing the actual chat box. That's funny. Also, welcome, Raph? I guess there's a Rav already. Do I call you Steiner? How's it going? I saw your comment about the Chuhu card game or whatever. I'm not sure if I would ever be, like, ever actually play it, but, you know. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. I appreciate when there are well-worded comments that are moderately short or moderately long. Deal 3 damage to all enemies 3 times. So this is 9 AoE for 2, which is really weird when there's... I guess this is an uncommon. This is conclude. This is actually just conclude. Which is fine. It's fine that it's conclude. And this one is deflect, I think. Oh, I didn't mean to take it. God damn it. I keep clicking the button and then... So, interestingly, you know, normally my disclaimer is I don't want to just be like, oh, this card is literally this card. But when the card is literally that card, right? It's kind of hard to not say it, right? That's cool. I'm doing fine. Hope you are too. By the way, are those feathers on your neck? That's a cool touch. So interestingly, this was a weird design choice that I made a really long time ago. But Flaris is supposed to be wearing scale mail. So like the bodysuit that I'm wearing underneath, you can see there's some scales there as well. But the bodysuit that I'm wearing until, you know, the thighs is like a type of scale mail bodysuit thing. Conclude as AoE. Oh, I thought this said deal 12 damage to all enemies. My apologies, because I was reading it beside this. Okay. Yeah, interesting then. So this is a notably different card. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Interestingly, I feel like the opportunity cost of playing something that says end your turn is really, really low, which is more a comment on conclude. It's a little awkward when you draw 2 of these. I think that's normally where the problem lies. We're gonna take it, actually, so we have a little bit more damage. Put it up. That says on my turn. Have I played the healing card yet? Not. So let's not discard our... Actually, you know what? I could draw 3. Let's see if I draw the thing. I did not draw the thing. Damn it. I did draw a block card, though, so we're going to leave all the cards in our hand. Discard a card at random, and we discarded the defend! That's so funny. We still gain... We technically net HP by doing this, I think. We do not. Damn it. In a while, Rockadile. So this is it's a big flying knee. We get energy the turn after. You know what's kind of interesting about these cards is that I feel like... Is that a card that's two energy to gain energy the next turn? Because I found that it was difficult to commit to 2 energy to get energy the turn after. When I was making cards like suspend gain energy stuff, I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting that like this is certainly stapled onto something else that is already statted probably correctly, so it's not really an issue. It was more like, oh, like if you wanted to pick this for the purposes of having energy the next turn. I guess this is the thing that I was saying about, so this is 0 cost, so you're going to play it every time. This one has a higher opportunity cost because it's 2 energy. So it's kind of like, I would be less likely to want to play this to autopilot this into like gaining energy next turn, right? So it's harder to say that I would play this every turn over, I guess. There's opportunity cost. Plan is a new thing. Look at the .x cards, you may discard any of them. Isn't this scry? Look at the top X cards of your draw pile, you may discard any of them. Because scry doesn't go to the bottom, right? You know, based on the affordances of the... sure is scry, yeah. Based on the affordances of the word plan, this is kind of like weird designer brain things, but... I think it'd be kind of interesting if plan, like, put cards on the bottom of your deck, because you're like planning, like you're planning to put them, like have them later or something. That'd be kind of neat. Let's take more damage. Sure, we have like already 1 free additional energy every time, so it seems like a good idea to have another one of those. So I applied 2. Vulnerable for 1. That's pretty good. Yeah, plan would be scry instead of scry. Exactly, it'd be MTG scry. instead of other scry. Okay, Knob. Gonna be honest, I don't actually know if I can beat Knob. Right, Knob isn't as scary as, you know. Oh, the opportunity cost of it is that it's a skill for Knob. No. It'd be really funny if we died there. Snack time. Gain 2 strength. 2 energy, gain 2 strength? 3 strength? So, interestingly, right? I think we obviously all know what this card is, but the interesting thing about this is that, like, you know, I had some thoughts about, like, previously the version of Barricade that Flagbearer had. And there was a lot of, like, oh, this is worse Barricade, right? Now, interestingly, if something is heavily limited on a character, I could actually see, like, rarity shifting it or even energy shifting it. Obviously, I don't think this card is balanced for the amount of energy it is, but, like, let's say, I can't imagine what draft context that makes Bad Inflame a rare. I agree. I agree with that. However, like, let's consider for a second that if a resource is heavily limited on a character, that perhaps the way they get that resource is very welcome Cavalier. Like, the way we get that resource, can I minimize this? Or does it stop capturing? I think that might stop capturing the window, which is kind of funny. But I wanted to play around with minimizing chat when I want to focus on saying a point. But yeah, the interesting thing, I think, is that there could be a scenario or there could be a case, not with this card specifically, like we have to abstract a bit, that when a resource is very limited, that perhaps that character should be paying more energy for that effect, and that idea or concept can be executed well. I don't think this card does that, obviously. We've all identified that this is Bad Inflame at rare, but yeah, or if there are, like, other draft contexts, like it's a power and, like, that matters for some reason, or this synergizes with something in particular, that's something worth considering. So, the starting deck flex could have fooled me into thinking strength wasn't very limited. Yes. There's a common power, which is its own problem, that gives 1 strength and 1 dexterity on this character. It upgrades to +2 strength, +2 dex, and 8! That is fair. The Sun. Deal 5 damage X times, gain energy. Wait, what? This is kind of an interesting idea for a card. It's not good, but it is kind of neat. Like an X card that gives you your energy back after you play it. Like, un-energy back, just so that you're not screwed at the end of playing the card. It lets you sequence differently, basically. I've definitely found with X cards before that part of the... Okay, well, I mean, that's just... I guess the other mode of this is you can play for 0 and gain an energy, or play it for, you know, 0 and gain 2 energy. That's, like, kind of... It's very interesting. I don't know. This card's not... There's a weird opportunity cost with X cards, which is that, like, you play the card, and then you're like, okay, my turn is over. However, this card says that your turn is not over. But... Right... The right card, Lamau. A chance. Deal 3 damage 3 times with a chance to apply 1 vulnerable. That's funny. It'd be super great if we knew what the chance was. Oh no. The common power draws 1 card. But why? I don't understand. Yeah, this card's really interesting. I think we're gonna pick it. It's likely, you know, too strong, but... Our deck doesn't seem to have any, like, coherent thing. Why? I have no idea. Sorry, as I've said before, I don't want to be like too passive aggressive with people. But this certainly is a mess of cards. There's also an uncommon just heal damage card and gain strength. Oh, there's also gain dexterity without exhaust. It's interesting. Do I want to heal? I'm just gonna keep healing. Just N case? That's a... I imagine that is a kind of pun that's really funny. Blocks not removed at the start. Is this common barricade? I know we talked about, like, literally we're not... It is a nade. Barricade with a nade. Okay, well. Interesting. I mean, listen. My last week was busy. I didn't prepare much for that. I did not vet this mod. I just wanted to talk about the wish and like because I felt like there was a lot of design things to comment on based on this thing. 2 mana and a common barricade. That's a choice. Oh right, the other thing too is that there's generally no common powers. The reason is because of the shop. Actually, I think there was a patch at one point in time that removed the common powers from defect. I think. I don't know. However, I do know for a fact that I used to have a common power, and it was broken. And the reason you don't do that is because you don't want to get common powers in the shop. This mod has multiple common powers. Marissa has a common power too. Yeah, the unfortunate thing about that is that when this rolls its rarity, the likelihood that you're going to find the common power is significantly more likely. Likely a design heuristic or mistake to include common powers. The other interesting part of that, by the way, is that common cards often function to just like progress the game. So there'll be attacks and blocks, or draw cards. Like those are the things that you need to manipulate at the common level for a card. Scaling or any kind of install or literally just scaling happens at uncommon because it is harder to find uncommons, right? At least this mod has multiple common powers though, which makes it slightly less problematic. Yes, I think it would actually be interesting to consider, right? So like we've considered the design pattern, which is that we put powers at uncommon because there's like literally problems with how the shop is coded. Not problems, but like there's a particular way that the shop behaves. So because of that, it is difficult to include common powers because you would run into the same one. As you're mentioning, because there are multiple common powers, what we can do is be like, okay, there's going to be multiple common powers. So obviously let's get the balance of the powers correct. I think it's interesting to consider what this would do to the draft pool. Because here's the other thing. So think about it this way. There are, how do I say this? The reason common cards are only attacks and blocks is because you want to progress the game state. Certainly, you can run into uncommons, or like there is a increasing % chance that you will find uncommons and rares, right? Totally fair. So you could argue that the systems of the game will take care of you such that you will eventually find uncommons and stuff. Sure. However, consider for a second that in a true random system, if you roll 3 commons and all of them are powers, and then for 4 combats in a row, you just only roll powers at the common level, then you're like, how do I kill anything? This is obviously a hyperbole, a very unlikely scenario, or something that is not going to happen, right? But again, part of the reason why we wouldn't include commons or powers as commons is because of that. Because I don't want to see a power or a scaling effect at common when, like, I'm just trying to, like, advance the game state, right? Like, with an on-play effect that does something. There are some government cards which have lasting effects, but they're the exception, not the rule, and none of them are powers. Yeah, what cards would those be? I believe you. I can't recall which ones you'd be talking about. It's not going to be Aura Essence, the character, since there's multiple. Yes, that is true. Claw, Orbs, Pressure Points, Poison. That's fair. Rare and Flame and Common Barricade. Some interesting rarity choices. Yeah, they're probably not correct. Or they're, you know... Barricade with... See, this is the interesting thing. If this was a rare, and this upgraded to... Like, this is the other thing, right? Terror is a rare, I believe. Right? Yeah. So, Claw and Pressure Points are certainly, like, scaling things, but those cards all say advance the board state, like, advance the game on play. Terror is uncommon. Is it? Have I been lied to my entire life? I feel like I'm getting gaslit. This is an uncommon! I always thought this was a rare. That's so weird. It's been a long time since I played Silent though, so whatever. It's fine. Terror is a very good uncommon. For sure. Because it's basically a power that says your opponent has vulnerable for the rest of the combat. I am aware that's not how it works, but yeah. So claws, orbs, pressure points, and poison, those are all attacks technically. Like they scale, but they like do something immediately. Whereas powers, generally, I think with the exception of electrodynamics, don't do anything on play. They give you like a power. Like they don't do damage, they don't, right? Yeah. You mean thinks terror is rare, right? Poser Spire player, poser e-girl. If I ever actually turn into an e-girl, I need someone to like kill me. Please. Please just remove me from the internet if I ever actually become an e-girl. No offense to e-girls, but I don't want to be an e-girl, so don't. So please let me know. Plenty of powers can do things right away. E-girl streams when? Can't even get my insults right, that's embarrassing. Yeah, you better be embarrassed. Plenty of powers can do things right away. Citation, please. The only one I can think of is electrodynamics. April is right around the corner. E-girl stream when? Oh no. I'm gonna be honest, I read that as April is right around the commer, like the coomer. E-girl stream when? Corruption does not do anything immediately. Neither does Metallicize. I guess Metallicize gives you 3 block. Buffer maybe? I guess Wraith Form does as well. Yeah. Corruption allows you to play cards immediately, but Corruption itself does not do anything on play. Which, again, the purpose of why I brought this up, please consider, is that if I need to draft a card that says do more damage, or I need to draft a card that says gain more block, powers often do not, like, work with themselves in a vacuum to do something. So I can't pick a power at common and say, my damage per turnover has increased by 5. That's like saying Inflame does something immediately. Exactly, it's like Inflame does not do something immediately. It is a scaling card. So it's like you can play in flame and then you can play in attack. But the reason why I brought this up, or the context for why we are thinking of this from a design angle, is that if I am given 3 cards which do not immediately increase my damage per turnover by playing the card, you can run into difficulties ending or moving towards ending the game. Like, it is very important to be able to increase the capabilities of attacking and blocking in the deck at the common level, which is why if you look at common cards for all of the starter characters, they very often only manipulate attack, block, or draw. Does this make sense? I'll start getting my meter stick out and spanking you, Cavalier. And I know that you are the one person who won't enjoy that. Okay. So anyways. Interesting aside about common powers, and, you know, who knows? Maybe somebody could make a bunch of common powers that, like, do something immediately and then have, like, a small cantrip or something. Be kind of cool. Anyways. I wanted to remove an attack. It's annoying to get a dead card reward, like finding a second one of these would be... Yeah, interesting. Like, finding 2 barricades is kind of... Like, there's something to be said about consistency, but I don't know. I've seen people draft multiple barricades, for example. Oh, it has a Nate on it. Oh, that was the other thing that I was going to say. The other thing I was going to say about... It would be interesting if this was a block-focused character, and then at uncommon, there was, like, a barricade with an 8 or something. Or, like, it was always 3 energy, but it would upgrade to having an 8 or something like that. Because, like, it's a character that cares about blocking, so, like, we're going to have this effect to be more readily available to this character, right? Like, that's a design space that could fit, right? So rarity shifting a power is, like, totally fair. Aura Slow and Aura Shatter are also dead cards once you have them. Yeah. Like, I'm not... But you can still pick a second Aura Shatter in the case that you have a 25-card deck and you really want to draw it, right? Like, I've seen people pick, like, 3 barricades. Like, they have drafted 3 barricades in an Ascension 20 run and they were totally fine. So. But that's, like, high-level game stuff. What does this upgrade to? Draw 5! It's like aggro. Slightly better aggro. Interesting. In the starting deck on upgrade. What is this grade 2? 15? Okay. There are plenty of dead cards in vanilla too. It's not that much of an issue. Again, I think we're transmuting the argument too much. None of the deadable cards are common. Exactly. Could you imagine getting... This obviously is not the case, but could you imagine getting 3 Aura Slows at common, and you're like, I already picked one of these. Be very funny. We have encountered a very interesting set of circumstances. We are choosing between this and this. I'm pretty sure we want to get the dexterity, but that's really funny to me. Wow. Really hope that mage is wearing pants underneath that skirt. Well, this is a cloak, not a skirt. Also, welcome, Reds. Yeah, there was a lot of points. And I think it is important to understand all of the different aspects of the points that are happening. A new mod, a new fail, just wondering. I would say that the quality of this mod is not immensely high, but there's a lot to talk about. Trying to figure out how I don't die. I think I've picked too many attack cards. Don't discard me defend. Thank you. That's what the point sounded like to me, but I didn't make it, so maybe I misinterpreted. Well, it was part of the point. So I was saying that a design pattern of the common cards for the base attacks, or for the base characters, a lot of the design of common cards is to give you like a very simple and direct way to manipulate attacks, block, or card draw. Like, that is the function of what a common card does, because they are more likely to appear. So there's a risk with powers that, since it does not fulfill one of those roles immediately by itself in a vacuum, that it kind of like breaks that heuristic. So we need to consider what the consequences of those things are. Like, not that it is immediately good or bad. I am going to label that it's bad in this circumstance. But that, like, we should consider what the impacts of changing that heuristic is. Right? Additionally, the point that you said is that there is a chance that you could get dead cards through redundancy by virtue of the power being a one-off power. So if you have an effect like Barricade, which is a one-off power, that becomes dead after you've already drafted one, having that at common makes it kind of difficult. Yeah. So far, this here character seems neat, but have there been any unique mechanics? Not that characters necessarily need one. It's a good mod and all, but can it be Goku? I can use this argument because there's a Goku mod. Oh god, there's a Goku mod. The nature of charge up on a mechanic is inherently flawed, being potentially exponential scaling, but it does a pretty good job of stopping you from exploiting the exponential nature. Charge up is Marissa. Okay. Well, I haven't played Marissa. I can't comment. I have no idea. Are you now a pro? And I'm guessing that's Slay the Spire. Damn boy, what happened? So this will decrease your flat chesty. What do you mean? What is happening? Why am I catching so many strays? I didn't do anything. The fuck is happening? Yeah. So far, the most unique mechanic is the time resetting mechanic, which I made comments on at the very start. Smash! This is shield block, or whatever. The Hermit. Gain 20. Shuffle 3. Examines interior. Huh. This card costs 3 energy. I wonder about this card costing 2, and it still being, like, completely playable. The hard thing with 3-cost cards is that it often takes up your entire turn. In Act 1, they're pretty hard to justify. Yeah, I'm not going to take it. Even though I think we need block cards. Change God. Offense, speed, defense, or speed. Unfortunately, this does not explain what it does on the card. Oh no. That's okay. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god. I'm really sorry. Okay. This is a 1-mana vault with upgrade for retain. Yes, the heuristic for this card is that it is usually a rare effect at 3. Interestingly, I'm once again going to make... I know that this character doesn't do that, but I'm once again going to make the interesting observation that I wonder what a character who could play, like, Vault at 1 energy at Uncommon would look like. Like, what that would kind of look like what kind of character... that's fair that they can do that, you know? That'd be kind of interesting. Start a turn, gain energy, and add a void into your discard pile. It's kind of neat. 2 energy. This is 1 energy, install gain energy. That's kind of nuts. Oh, and it only shuffles... Oh, no, it does it every turn. Interesting. I mean, I still don't like powers which give you energy, but neat. It's balanced because if you use Time Rewind in that battle, you lose 1 max HP. Oh no. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, what does this upgrade to? I didn't check. 2 strength. So this becomes Flex Plus. Not Flex Plus, it becomes... Huh, okay. I think I like this one. Because it's gonna become 0 energy. Give me 2 energy. Turn it up. Gain some dex. Pretty sure there's no character who can vault for 1 who is balanced. Yeah, I wasn't asking if there's a character that can vault for 1. My question was, how can we make it so that vaulting for 1 is fair? Like, what would that character look like? Or what kind of restrictions would we need to put in order to make the character to work? I meant that it cannot exist. Cool. You are fired from the design team. Yeah, I think it would have to be like probably 2, like still 3 energy probably, and then I don't know. Like it'd be a very upkeep focused character with like low upfront stuff. I know that sounds like I'm describing flagbearer, but I think flagbearer has become a lot more proactive in recent patches. Brook becomes Flex Plus, but the plus means better, not upgraded. Yes, that's what I meant. This character has a 0 cost uncommon, which gives multiple energy and multiple draws. Upgrades to not exhaust. Ah! Well, that is a self-enabling infinite, isn't it? Very interesting. When will it be an upgrade for your chest? Jokes aside, how have you been? Damn it. You were this fucking close, Cesar. You were this close to getting banned. I'm doing fine. I'm a little bit tired today. I slept in. It's more than just an infinite. It's just a busted card. Well, obviously, I'm just also making the observation that it is a self-enabling infinite. I think no one is going to argue with you with like a 0 cost card which gives you energy and draw at the same time is not busted. Yeah, I think we all get that. Yeah. I kind of want to block, so don't discriminate defend. Fuck. What if I had lethal there? I didn't check. Sorry, someone asked earlier, I think it was Wrath or Steiner, if there are any like character unique stuff, and we mentioned this one, but yeah, I think for the most part we have not seen anything that's like very clearly character unique. I guess like this. Lose 10 HP, deal 8 damage X time. Why does this pay 10 HP? It's interesting. That does not seem worth it at all. Simple, make the cost a real-life punch in the face. That way it balances out CM Smart, and a valuable asset to the design team. Jesus. Just an inch from ban. Damn, so close. I'm working and don't sleep. I think this Sunday. Coffee helps to stay awake, and it's my 8th cup of... Oh, geez, in the day. Well, I mean, hey, Cesar. If you're living your best life, then that's great. Even without the HP loss, that would be about on par with the other X cards. Yeah, or... No, like, literally the other X card, like this one. This one even gains energy. Yeah, so this is a weird one. I guess the takeaway for this would be 2 cards which do something very similar, but one is, like, clearly better. It's a good thing to keep in mind. Reduce the cost of all cards in your hand to 0 this turn. Weird bullet time. Huh. Today is my worst day of the week, and it's just Monday. This will be a great week indeed. I believe in you, Cesar. You got this. Behold worst bullet time. The energy gain is what makes them on par. Oh, I guess because this is 1 damage additional? Yeah, okay, sure. I'm curious what this card does. Let's Runic Pyramid it up. Three damage additional, but yes. Oh, I was looking at on the upgraded version, right? This was like 4 before or something like that, or 5. The draft context is probably worth a lot worse than bullet time. Lots of very expensive cards. I see. 5 and 1? Okay, yeah, I got it. I understand. I got you. All right, let's try. I think we've seen enough. Let's try picking up the pace. Time to figure out what this card does. Huh. Oh, so this is like a Wish clone. Interesting. These are not equal, though. 3 strength is definitely not equal to gain 2 energy. So much energy. Wow, Final Blow sucks when I so much energy. We acro. Nice. See, the interesting thing about this thing, right, is that, like, we haven't had to use it yet. Obviously, we are on Ascension 0, but there's certainly always a risk that this is going to just stack up and be broken. Shuffle 2 loop guarantees. Retain. Heal 3 HP. Oh! Gain 3 block. Your next attack deals 3 additional damage. That seems very good. Cool. I think we don't have enough blocks. I don't think I've picked enough blocks. Oasis is back, baby! What is just attack? That is 5 energy. How do you play that card? What is happening? Oh no. God. I need to stop laughing. I'm so fucking mean. Jesus. Ironclad Strike. Thicket? No, it's 5 energy. It's literally uncastable. Yeah, Ironclad Strike is the default for card matching event if you don't change the variable, boy. I will buy a time walk, thank you. Wait, it doesn't even have time sickness. Oh my god! My time walk doesn't have time sickness, let's go! 5 mana deal, 18 AoE. Yeah, that's not... 5 mana has got to be like... Did I see? Yes, that is correct. I've told people in the past that I'm supposed to vet these, and I didn't vet it because I was like... I knew that I would have like 15 minutes of content talking about the Wish because I think there's a lot of interesting things to talk about with like resetting HP values and like restarting the game state and stuff like that. Like things that don't inherently move the game state forward, but like kind of reset things. Like there was a lot to talk about there, so I wanted to talk about that. And then I didn't look at any of the other cards. And this is what we end up with. We end up with Acro Plus. And lots of scaling. Probably better to take the power in that shot? Probably not, but maybe. Oh, I didn't even look at it because I saw Time Walk. I just, you know, I'm just a Time Walk guy. That's my strength. Oh. Playing Knife to meet you might have been helped. Might have helped a little bit. Time Walk! The offense. Turn it up. The innate +1 strike dex power. Oh, yeah, that probably would have been good. See, the interesting thing is that the Wish doesn't reset anything. It resets your HP. When you die, you heal to full. So technically, healing yourself to full does not advance the game state. It just makes you not die. Interestingly, first of all, there's 2 things. So the first thing is that this Fairy in the Bottle resets your HP to 30. Yeah, Man, Cavalier, I really feel like you need to up your game on this one. Or maybe, like, listen to the entire rant at the start. There's 2 interesting parts of this. The first one is that there's, like, a negative feedback loop. Or positive feedback loop with losing HP. And also that Slay the Spire often includes positive feedback loops for their bosses, so that, like, healing doesn't actually necessarily, like, take over the game or something. I thought you meant resets the fight. No! I'm saying that generally... So, in a different context, because I also considered this, but in a different context, enemies that heal themselves are kind of annoying, because you try to... Yeah, like, you try to advance the game state, but then they, like, reset the game state. So you're like, I am moving towards winning. But then, yeah, there's a reason characters don't start with 5 Lizard's Tails. Exactly. So that's, like, kind of the point. So it's like Fairy in a Bottle and Lizard Tail are both rares, I think. Like, I think Fairy is a rare potion, and then Lizard Tail is a rare relic. If I know this correctly. So it's like that kind of effect is heavily limited because of the fact that, you know, there's also even like the opportunity cost of like if you get a Lizard Tail, like you could have gotten another rare relic. There's the opportunity cost of like parking a Fairy in the Bottle in your potion slot. So there's like play to that. There's interestingly play to this as well, with the idea that you build up stacks, there's the meta scaling of the stacks, and then you choose when to use them, so like there's that too. But yeah, generally bosses which heal themselves are like immensely annoying. If the boss can heal himself, it's bad. Not necessarily, but like there are a lot of bosses which I've observed which frustrate players. So Millennia, for example, can be frustrating to players because they don't like it. The solution for it needs to be hyper aggressive, and you need to not get hit by things. Otherwise, you cannot advance the game state. So, like, you want some certain amount of, like, progression towards ending the game, or you might start feeling hopeless. Another example of this actually comes from Dungeon Fighter, which is funny, because no one here plays Dungeon Fighter, but I do, in my free time, sometimes. There's a boss called Karen, and what Karen does is when Karen kills any party member, he heals like 15 or 25% of his HP. Yeah, that everyone hates Karen. I don't like. People do not like Karen. Oh, I forgot to have the Lyrilyte count update. But fitting name because it's Karen. Yeah, it's like Charon or whatever, like the one from Myth. But yeah, the idea is that like there's a certain degree of loss aversion that people feel. So when you progress towards something, like let's say you're climbing, let's say you're climbing upstairs, and your interpretation of climbing up the stairs is that like, okay, I expect that once I have climbed halfway up the stairs, there's only halfway more to go. So I'm gonna tough it out and climb the other half of the stairs. But let's say there was a 25% chance that when you get halfway up the stairs, you actually get another half set of stairs put in front of it. And then you're like, oh god, well now I need to climb the stairs again. And then you get to the second one, and because this is a true random example, we're going to do the worst possible scenario where you get another half set of stairs. Like, the situation starts to feel hopeless. Right? Because you're screwing with players' expectations, and also there's a certain degree of loss aversion of the progress towards your expected finishing point. So generally when bosses heal or like enemies heal, like it's really hard to like it is a system where I feel like I would want to think very heavily about how I want to implement it. Because like generally resetting the game state is like annoying to players. I initially thought of this, I think, actually when I was playing Monster Hunter, and it was of like wyverns that heal themselves and stuff. So whereas healing for the player is a matter of like permitting mistakes, healing for an enemy represents like loss aversion towards progress. So I feel like I'm 50% of the way done this thing. Actually, now I'm 25% of the way done. Players will feel like they're losing that progress. It makes them upset. Wyverns that heal themselves? I think I was thinking of the vampire dragon. Safi'jiiva doesn't, like, it does heal itself, but it's more of like a, like Safi'jiiva is more of like a phased boss fight. Also, HP in Monster Hunter is a little bit ethereal, but it might have actually just because been because I was drinking a potion, and I was like, I just mused about, like, it's funny how like we get to heal, but wyverns don't get to heal. Yeah, Safi is the only one that like actually heals itself. True. Yeah, because like there's a bunch of double standards as far as like how players act towards, like, you know, whether an AI can do something or whether like a person can do something. So since the difference between more max HP and less max HP plus healing is mental, you don't have to be worried about the computer getting upset. Exactly. Also because having less max HP and healing is the other thing is it does is that it makes a secondary gameplay loop. So there's the gameplay loop of fighting the boss, and then when you take damage and get knocked away, you're gonna heal. So it's like a separate gameplay loop. So like there's the loop over here that involves fighting, like fighting, dodging, and choosing, and then you get knocked away, and then you do the healing loop of like dodging and healing. So like dodging would be here, and then like healing would be here. You heal and dodge, and sometimes you like break into the attacking loop. Not necessarily through dodge, but yeah. Whereas like healing becomes a strategic decision that you can choose. So like giving players the option to heal is actually like very interesting because it gives them an opportunity of play. Whereas like healing for a computer doesn't matter. Like it would probably choose to heal 90% of the time so it doesn't die whenever it's safe. And let's say like we made an AI, like an enemy AI, that could perfectly calculate the amount of time it takes to do a combo. I could make an AI that knocks you away from me, so it has like a tail sweep that knocks you away. I know that the amount of time it takes for a player to recover through using wire bug or through landing on the ground. If you land on the ground, I'll do a long heal so that I go up to 50% HP. If you press the wire bug button, I will fast heal and gain 10% HP. Like, you can make AIs brutal as shit. Does not make gameplay fun, right? Like, just think about it. Like, you can make the most bullshit like, hard does not equal fun. Like, you could make the most bullshit design ever. Like, oh yeah, and also when it hits you, it heals. And it's like, cool, I can never kill this thing. It's like, no, if you literally never get hit for any reason, but actually it knows what the end lag time on you dodging is, so it has a 2-second cooldown that when you dodge, it'll interrupt the end frames of your dodge because we know what the end frame time is. So it'll interrupt and hit you away once you roll. And then it's like, yeah, well, there's no way to beat this boss. It's like, yeah, we designed bosses to get beaten. That's the point. The point is that they're beatable. That's the point. Poor AI often has to do with pathing. My favorite thing to do in a game is shoot an enemy when they're aggroed simply walking through a door. I came to reset his aggro, rinse and repeat. Yeah, for sure. I remember when Dark Souls 2 was touted as like a very innovative design because enemies could like follow you like everywhere. I will note that you're talking about an enemy with significantly less time commitment to its attacks and movements than the player. Yes, exactly. So it also just gets to like it just gets to like cancel its abilities and slam dunk on you, but you get to cancel your abilities to dodge. So like just give it to the, you know, just also give it to the enemies. Easy. It's fair. It's fair because we're doing the same thing. It's fair. Oh, time walk. It depends. Well, that's what I'm saying, Cavalier, is that, like, you simply... We design bosses to have gaps. Your assumption that an AI would have more start and end lag than the player is a design assumption. What if you just didn't do that? It's like, no, well, we want the AI to win, so we're going to program it so that it's just better than the player, and you get fucked. Like, cool, it's not fun then. It's like, yeah. Oh, whoops. I played the end turn button. I know I'm agreeing. Yes. Fair. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Cavalier. I did not understand. I thought you were continuing to devil's advocate, and I was like, bruh. The perfect AI will win if it's given all the same tools and limitations. That's why it's perfect, yeah. It's like, not fun. Interestingly, I was actually, you know, I was playing TTRPG yesterday, and actually I found myself becoming very frustrated because basically what the DM did was they put us in a scenario where, like, that felt like a perfect AI scenario, right? Where it's like, hey, so like you're taken captive, and also everyone here is watching you all the time with crossbows aimed at your back all the time. It's like, cool, is there any opportunity to do anything? It's like, no. There are crossbows trained at your back. So if you breathe, you die. And I'm like, cool. I'm just like fully dejected from this scenario. I don't want to play. Like, because there's no point in doing anything. Oh, hey, look, it's the fool. Sure. Let's upgrade it, maybe. You're a level 1 character. 6 ancient black dragons attack. It's like, great, cool, I love games. Unless it's an arcade game, those games are meant to take all your quarters. Yeah, but Rance, here's the interesting thing about arcade games that are trying to take your quarters. The arcade game can't just like send 6 ancient black dragons after you, as Cavalier is saying, because then you won't feel like you can win. What the arcade game needs to do is it needs to make you feel like you can win, right? And then take it away from you, because then you might be like, nah, I totally could have won. Like it started with with all these trash mobs, and then the boss is just really stupidly hard, right? They're like, no, but I definitely could have won. You know what I mean? Level 1 mission, get some herbs. Level 2 mission, kill the gods on this planet. Gacha games are just modern arcade games. There's like a little, you know, there's like a little gambling in there. So it's worth mentioning and considering. I'm realizing this deck really has like no block, and I'm starting to get concerned about my hopes of beating the Book of Stabbing. Not serious, but kind of. Yeah, I think it might be like a separate activating ability or activation to, you know, let's try using this. Okay, reset. I wonder if we can do it again. To attack. Was it an intro? Because sometimes DMs make things more perilous than they actually are. No, it was not an intro. They both exist to earn money, but they go about it doing it in completely different ways. This is true. Gacha games aren't used a lot to cover gacha games. Is that like usually they'll get you to roll as part of the tutorial. So I did, I think, an analysis of the starting tutorial to Arknights, and then after you get out of the first like required area or required tutorial stages of Arknights, they get you to roll a bag. So they give you enough to roll a bag, and then I think they say something along the lines of like, our units aren't strong enough, so go roll the gacha. You know what I mean? And then you roll the gacha, and it's like, okay, now that we have stronger units, we can continue playing the game, right? Like it's part of the onboarding, which is kind of fucked if you think about it. Someone who is like not cognizant of that will be like, oh, well, I need to like pull gachas so that my characters are stronger. And then they'll be like, oh, I need to pay money to pull the gacha so my characters are stronger. But like, the game's fun and like, I want my characters to be stronger, so I guess I'll like become a gacha addict. Like, it's kind of fucked if you think about it. But anyways. There's also something to be said about, there's oftentimes the concept of the wall in gacha games, where like there will be a stage that filters out players, but there is a conversion rate between the wall and how many players just do the right thing and quit the second you hit the wall. I can't tell if you pre-typed that, or when I started talking about the wall, you immediately typed that. But there's a concept in gacha games called the wall, which is a very difficult stage that is hard to beat, or difficult boss or whatever, difficult set of stages, however you want to do it. There will be a point in the game where it's difficult to progress, like notably more difficult to progress. And, you know, what it's kind of hung in front of your face, or like been like, ooh, just do the thing, right? I did that before you said the words concept of the wall. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But yes, so they have kind of started out by saying, okay, but you can become stronger by pulling gacha. And then they put a really hard scenario in front of your face. So, you know. I know plenty of DMs that will start with a perilous situation to hook the players, but yeah, sometimes DMs can make things impossible. Like, whatever you do, don't run Tomb of Horrors. Yeah, no, Rants. So the interesting thing is that I literally played a jailbreak, like jailbreak RPG. I don't know if you were here for when I talked about my RPG experience. It was like a, it was a D&D module, where you get like captured by the drow. But the thing is, there were like so many small things about the like design of that scenario, which obviously one is a module that you buy, and one was like improv by a DM. Unplayable. Deals 10 to all enemies, then adds a copy of itself into your discard pile. Sure. Let's try it. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so it's just, the main point was that there are mechanisms to allow players options to do things. And this has to do with motivation. I've talked about motivation before. One of the main lenses for motivation that we use in games is self-determination theory. So like, if there is an access to express autonomy, God, I always forget it. Autonomy, there's something to do with social motivation. So like, if you can be with other people, it won't work with Pyramid, but I kind of doubt that it will. Yeah, I think that's probably how it works. And then the other one was, it's not expertise. It's not autonomy. It's basically like ability. Like if you can execute like a complicated dash or jumping pattern, you will like, yeah. So it's like autonomy, I get to choose what I want. Social, or belongingness or togetherness. There's like, you're with other people, so it's fun. And then there is, God, here, let me just look it up. It's frustrating me now. Competence. That's what it is. It's autonomy, competence, and relatedness. So competence has to do with like, I can play the game and be masterful at the game. Is usually like the easiest one to check off. But when you put players in a scenario where they can't choose to do anything, there are no NPCs to talk to who are interesting to talk to, and then there's no like, yeah. And then there's no competence. So like, I can't even choose to like fight these people or choose creative ways for me to use skills to solve the problem. Then like, I just kind of feel like doing nothing. There's food motivation the DM uses all the time. I don't know what you mean by that. But the point is, I feel like the scenario is crafted in the sense of, no, but guys, that's how the AIs would act. Like, that's how people would treat captured people, like, and like, you're not supposed to get out. It's like, but that's like the problem, is that, like, as a designer, you have to think, I want the players to get out, but I want them to fight for it. So, like, how can I allow them, like, autonomy? How can I allow them competency? How can I allow them relatedness? So the module that was run for me on the weekend, that was a jailbreak, did this very well. Because it started off with, you are brought in by the drow with, like, 8 other NPCs that all have, like, personalities which the DM can riff on. I know that I related a lot to, like, there's, like, the escape artist gambler man, right? That's, like, a sense of relatedness. There's someone personable that I can talk to. Competency. There were different, like, there were twice a day when you could use secondary skill checks in order to, like, prepare for your jailbreak. So thinking of how your secondary skills apply to the scenario in order to, like, move towards the goal is both competency and autonomy. And also there's autonomy. You can choose to do things. Like, it's not just only choose thievery and only thievery works here. It's like, you could be a social character, you could be a strength character. Like, you could say you cause a ruckus by, like, using your strength and, like, throwing a fit or something, right? Like, you can choose to do things. Oh, I was making a joke that there's a lot of games that provide food and treats to keep players, like, that's how I got in D&D, was saving up money, and friend needed an extra person and I needed the free food. Damn true. I mean, fair. But my point is that this game didn't do that, and I was very frustrated. Because they were like, but that's how they would treat prisoners. And it's like, yeah, but, like, give us a fucking fighting chance, bro. Come on. Was this the one that does the thing where it upgrades to not exhaust? Strong. I've been getting a lot more sidetracked this stream. Oh, I forgot to play this. Oopsie. Hey, one energy thing. It's even 2 cards, so the infinite isn't just spinning your wheels. Oh yeah, for the 0 cost energy card, for sure. And all these D&D stories sound fun, but sadly no one close to me plays it. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, you know, on if people are playing around you. There are unfortunately too many people I know who play D&D or RPG games in general, such that there's so many that I don't play all of them because there's way too many and I would have no time for myself. To be fair, if you want to start players off captured by the drow, you're already probably going to have to run them out of character. Well, that depends, right? Like, this is a module, like, from Wizards of the Coast, was my best understanding. So, and yeah, you are correct. The plot twist, kind of, was that the drow at that outpost were, like, incredibly lazy. So you could get away with stuff like sneaking away from the guards or like tricking them and stuff like that. But like I said, this is like a good context to give players a fighting chance, right? And like all of your assumptions about like, no, but they're perfect and they would do it this way and whatever are like, okay, but does that facilitate gameplay? Like, there's a certain line between, like, the verisimilitude of the people and then, like, playing a game that actually works, right? So, if you need to simulate breathing, if you need to facilitate breathing in your simulation game, it's like, it simply becomes unplayable, right? There are online games, Steiner, but it can be hard. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's because I haven't played any online, but I don't typically connect to people through. That's so funny for me to say because I'm literally a streamer, but like I don't typically connect through online communities, which is probably why I'm a failure of a streamer. But you know, that's okay. That's neither here nor there. It's like, Flares, when's the Discord gonna exist? Sweating. Me sweating. Never. It's never going to exist. Oh, that's affected by vulnerable. That's cool. Rare potion. Can I info this? Nope. Okay. We are approaching the 2-hour mark, so I might just call it. Start with 2, sure. It's also the opposite end of the spectrum. If the DM plays enemies too much in the player's favor, it becomes dull. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that I don't think it's to favor the player or to not favor the player. That's the thing. Like, the aspect of this lens isn't about, oh, I'm making it easy for the players. Like, wrong way of contextualizing this. There are rules. Yeah, it's a spectrum, but the thing is, I think it's less about being a spectrum and, like, it's more important to consider the lens that is being used. So, like, the lens without spectrum is that, like, how can my players interact with the world? Right? So, I'm not fully disagreeing with you. I think what you said is actually accurate, and I think that having a spectrum of, like, how little the players can do or how much the players can do is something you should consider in this other lens. But, like, how do the players interact and then being consistent with those rules, I think is important. So, for example, we've already chosen that this drow outpost is, like, relatively lax. You know, we've already chosen that. Those are the rules that I'm going to communicate and make apparent to the players so that they feel like they can make decisions. If that is what I have, like, told the players they can do, and then they fail one stealth roll and they're immediately executed, like, that wouldn't be very good, right? Like, it doesn't match how I've alluded to how these guards act. So, like, the failure spectrum doesn't make sense anymore, right? So, yes, in combination with what you said and the failure spectrum, and also being clear about how the players can interact with the world, I think is important. So what the enemies can do to the players. The DM doesn't control the players. You don't control, like, specifically what the players choose. Certainly. But if I tell you that there's 2 skill checks per day, then, like, there's 2 skill checks per day. You can choose to interact with that or not interact with that, right? And that's what I'm saying about, like, setting the rules. Where it's like, the rules are, you have 2 skill checks per day. So, what do you do with those? Right? And those might prompt, like, scenarios for you to be in and stuff like that. So, like, the rules restriction there is use your secondary skills. And, like, that's being, like, set by the DM as a manner of, like, how the players are going to interact with the game. I can never ultimately choose what secondary skill the player does. but I'm definitely setting a restriction that shapes the gameplay. What's the diagnosis so far? This character is not exceptionally good. I think there was a lot to talk about as far as the design goes, but I don't think I'm going to do a wrap-up for this one and just kind of like maybe beat this boss and then call it. We've sort of like talked about a lot of stuff and then, you know, do we feel like we need to do a wrap-up for this one? Because I think there isn't too much like in particular to talk about. It's a lot of like, well, these cards seem very overtuned and strong. We had the discussion about common powers and like this thing at the start, so I don't really know. There isn't too much like truly unique things going on, I guess. The distribution of power is very lopsided. Very tangent-y design the Spire episode today. Yeah, well, because I feel like there wasn't a whole lot to poke into. Let's do this one. On call. Oh. Remember when I said, like... Remember when I said, like, the opportunity cost of having it say end the turn is nothing? Me continuing to forget that that says end the turn on it is, like, the funniest shit ever. I think D&D is about communication. Like, if a bunch of new people, DM should run easier, less punishing game. If players expect a challenge and you expressed it, would be more challenging than stage 50 world, etc. I think that this statement is true to an extent, but does not actually interact with what I said. Which is, like, I'm talking more about the fact of, like, we have studied game design principles. This is our understanding of game design at the moment. So, if we apply those to this scenario, then there are problems. So to an extent, it's kind of saying, I have higher expectations of what happens in a game based on my understanding of game design principles. This isn't necessarily true, but I could definitely feel the tension in this session being like, wow, I really wish I could do fucking anything. But I can't. I feel like I was not being given the opportunity to do so. I can't wait until I lose via anger. Anger reshuffling my stuff. I guess I could just brick this with the wish. Wish it up, baby. Let's go. Wait, that didn't kill me. Whoops. Please deal 22 damage to me. There we go. There's the damage. Please do the damage to me. What is happening? Is this not triggering? Oh, I had a fairy in the bottle. Shh. Skibbity boop bop 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 bop. Whatever. Fine. You could have bribed the DM with donuts. Sure. Deal damage equal to half of your max HP. These all cost 3. At the end of 5 turns, deal 50 damage to all enemies. This is the bomb. kind of, or it has the triggering action of the bomb. Okay, I am going to abandon this room. Okay, so I suppose we will try performing some kind of recap for this character. It's the bomb. That's just some kind. Okay, so a summary of playing this character. Probably not the strongest or most well-designed character. That's what I will say. So I think where we started was talking about the non-default starting stuff. Usually a very difficult thing to play around with. I am aware that they have attempted to include some kind of way to like get this gold back. I kind of wonder about even a heuristic of like how often do players lose HP in this game? Right, could give you an estimate about how much gold you get. This, interestingly, only came up a couple times. There's something to be said about, you know, restarting your own HP being a way to extend the fight by an amount that is kind of like outside of the general heuristics of the game, which might like extend it to like, oh god, I'm still fighting this boss. You know what I mean? Like it's going on for a while. Interestingly, the restart aspect of this, or like the forgetfulness aspect, this maybe could say something like applies forget. I don't know. Maybe, no, that's not how it works. Oh, yeah, putting the comprehensive text I think is better actually, because there's no way to have the pop-up. So yeah, I definitely wonder with this one about... Normally it's hard to comment on the actual numbers, but there is something to be said about, I think, like what is the average amount of combats between like each floor? So it's like there's probably going to be at least 5 combats. Is that okay? Did I die? No, I abandoned the run because we're at 2 hours and I have some work I need to do. So I want to wrap this up and kind of get going. Yeah, so like reviving back to full HP is definitely a little bit of a tough sell. We talked about like players don't generally start with like 5 lizard tails. And we also maybe calculated that this could amount to maybe like 250 plus HP over the course of a run, which is a lot of HP. Like healing is very limited in this game, so like healing that much HP is like a lot. I think there's also like at the start of your turn lose 1 max HP. Like certainly that's something to be aware of, but I definitely think a keen player would simply time this such that they would heal to full and then immediately end the combat in a lot of cases. So I guess in a corridor fight, this could be like your corridor fight turns into a bonfire where you rest to full HP. That's tough. Oh, thanks, Rance, for the burger. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the supa. So there's that. We talked a little bit about the cards. There was the draft disparity that there's only 53 cards. Totally fine and valid that they didn't have all the cards completed yet because I still chose to play it, whatever. The character started with 12 cards and then it had 1 way to manipulate cards in the base deck. So certainly this, I think, has to do with making sure that the deck is at a turnover rate of 2. Sure. The fact that this upgrades to like better acrobatics is like a little bit tough. Like starting with acrobatics with like it didn't seem like there was specific discard synergy, or there might have been a little bit. Like there are things that say discard cards, but like what are the things that say like we care about discarding except for this one? So I kind of wonder about that. Time walking for 1 is definitely funny. There's a lot of 3 cost things I'm noticing. And like things that cost 3 are really just like really tough to cast. Things that cost 4 are basically uncastable. The way that thanks, Rance, again for the supa. So yeah, things that cast for 3 it is just hard to commit 3 energy to anything in this game. Defect can usually do it because they are a very energy-centric character. This character gains a lot of energy, or has ways to gain energy, but I don't think they're necessarily energy-centric. There were certainly a few cards that, you know, zero energy draw and gain energy. That's kind of tough. Like, there's a lot of cards that are basically like, this card seems to be strong. Just in general, not this card, but like. Wait, there's only one common power. Oh, there's 2. There's the Fool. There's just these 2. Having a way to heal, kind of tough. Just straight up having a healing card. Defect has a healing card because they're generally kind of slow. Gain dexterity with no limit. That's also kind of tough, I think. Oh, I think these are also supposed to be tokens. Like, these aren't supposed to be coded as common, so that they appear here instead. Stuff like this. Uh, 250 was a very quick and dirty calculation based on using it 4 times and gaining 25 max HP. Yeah, so certainly there's like another... You could look more in depth into that, for sure. I kind of wonder about the possibility of making a wizard or toolbox style character, like with sort of this concept, because this character has everything in the starting deck. Like, it has draw, it has apply vulnerable, it has AoE and apply weak, it has gain strength, it has even gain energy. So this character really has like everything in the starting deck. Not to say that you could win with the starting deck, but just to say that, like, oftentimes you don't start with these, or you don't have all of them, right? I think the starting deck is really an opportunity for you to onboard the unique mechanics of your character, so that players can mess around with that and figure things out. Like, Silent having a card which discards something, like, lets you start thinking about how to use that. Whereas this just has 4 really strong effects. I think we talked about this being a 0 cost, and how there's basically no opportunity cost to this card. You would just play it every time you draw it. And it's not like a flex where you're choosing to draft it or not draft it. So this is definitely very risky to include in the base deck. At the lowest conversion rate of damage per energy, that would be 3 damage per turn, like per turnover. 3 additional damage per turnover, with a turnover of 2. But certainly this becomes a lot stronger if you use the energy for literally anything else. So 0 cost cards are hard, for sure. I did not check attack skill ratios. I didn't look that deep into it. Just kind of seems like there'll probably be a lot of work to be done on this one, to make it playable. At least the uncommon healing card exhausts, unlike the one that makes the healing. Oh yeah, there's the one that doesn't. Yeah, so anytime you are manipulating any of the like macro things, or even just scaling in general, like generally scaling, like powers exist to give you scaling because they are finite, right? And then healing in this case is like, if it didn't exhaust, like the one that shuffles the token, I don't remember where it is, but it doesn't exhaust, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stall and heal to full. It's kind of like, oof. All scapegoat healing exhausts because scapegoat is the pinnacle of balance. Totally hilarious. Not like a flex where you need to choose to draft it, more like a retrace where you need to choose not to remove it. Hey, stop bullying retrace. Retrace did nothing wrong, okay? Retrace is a completely fair card that, you know, is the pinnacle of balance, to take Cavalier's words. Yeah, so this has been fun. I mean, you know, I don't think it's unreasonable, or most of my comments weren't like immensely unreasonable. Obviously, we can respect the fact that someone put time into making this thing, and that they wanted to think of different effects that they felt like would work. I just realized that this is 2 block game on dexterity. So cool. That's gonna be it today for Design Spire. So if you're still here, what I'm gonna say is thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support as always. Thank you again, Rants for the Super. Big appreciate. And I will see you all Wednesday for BlazBlue. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.